he would bomb, and he would strafe, and he would just empty his airplane right down there on that spot where he saw that. And if you was there, you was dead. Because I know we lost one person. He couldn't stand that plane up there. And that plane come over and he shot at it with his rifle. Of course, that pilot seen it. And he just bombed and strafed, and he killed that guy that shot him. He got him. But I don't know if he wounded anybody beside of him or not. But I know he was killed. And they called him Bed Check Charlie. He would check us out every night it come. And he was right there over us.
How did you feel when you heard the war was over?
Well, couldn't believe it to start with. I said, well, we better hold back on this celebrating for a while. I had. I didn't much believe it till they kept repeating it. And then they kept moving us around a little bit and giving us news and telling us. We had a news thing, over there. And they told the news every day. If you had a radio, you could pick it up, but if you didn't, you didn't hear it. In them homes over there, we took them homes, we took them houses over. And we didn't sleep on the ground no more after we started mopping up. We slept in them houses. We run the Germans out and slept in their homes. And that was a good part about the war. We didn't have to sleep out there in the cold no more. We'd take us a village or something, and we'd take us a house and run them out. Say, we're going to sleep here. And we'd boom, out of here. And they went out, they left, and we took over. And that's where we slept. And that's where, of course, I was in headquarters part of the company I was in, and that's where I was close to the captain. That's the reason I knew him so well, because we was together. And they made me a runner, and I was running the news, what he'd tell me, down to the 3rd Platoon, where this McCainley, he was over there. Sergeant McCainley was over the 3rd Platoon. He was a sergeant too. He was a sergeant, but the Captain Houston, he was still. But he'd tell me the stuff that run down to the 3rd Platoon, and I'd take it down there to him, and tell him what the captain told me. He didn't write it down or nothing. I had to keep it up here. And so we run across this whiskey hotel. The Germans had stole all the France's cognac and whiskey and wine and stuff, and they'd stored it in this hotel there. And we run across this hotel, and of course, they divided it up. Give each man so much of this to drink and so much of that. And we had this bubbly stuff, what do you call it? High price. Champagne. And we each got 3 bottles of champagne. And me and this sergeant, he was a Jewish fellow. They thought I was a Jew because my name was Knighten. And we had us a house to ourselves. And I'd killed us a chicken out there, and we was cooking frying that chicken and eating. And they passed out this champagne, and I started drinking it. Boy, it tasted good. And this sergeant was together. I was with a sergeant there. He said, "You ever drink champagne before?" I said, "No." He said, "It'll make you drunk." I said, "It will." I said, "I ain't felt nothing." I said, And I'd already drank a bottle of it here. And I said, I don't feel a thing. He said, it'll make you drunk. And I drank them 3 bottles. And when I got up for something, it seemed like I just floated up. Didn't have to move a muscle or nothing. Just floated in thin air, floated up. And I said, golly, bum, what a feeling. This is $1 million feeling. And we're still mopping up. We're still on the front line now. This is happening up there. We was in this house. And the next day, I was just dying for something to drink. So I went out to the can. We had these Lister bags, full of water. And I went out there in my canteen to fill my canteen up, and I just filled it up, and I could drink all I could drink. I started floating again. And the captain said, Knighten, said, I want you to run this down to 3rd platoon. And he told me what it was. I said, run hell, I'll float it down there. And he looked at me, and he kind of cracked. He knew what would happen. He said, well, float it down there then. I said, oh. We had a little fun along in there in between spats, and being shot at all the time.
Well, you talked about how you got home. You came home on pretty rough seas on the boat. Where did you sail into?
That Virginia. What was the name of I said it a while ago.
Well, you came to
Newport News.
Newport News, Virginia.
Virginia, yeah, Newport News.
You had a meal.
Had a meal.
How long was it before you were able to come home?
They put me on a train the next day. The next day they put me on a train and to come to Atlanta on it. And from Atlanta, they put me on a bus and I come to Rome. And I got on another bus at Rome and I come to Leesburg. It was going to Gadsden and Birmingham. And they had Greyhound buses back then, but you don't never see no more of them. But back then they had buses. And I got on this bus in Atlanta and come to Rome. And from Rome I changed over to buses going to either Birmingham or Gadsden. And that's the bus I got on and come to Leesburg, Alabama. And when I got to Leesburg, Alabama, I got off. And I was about a mile from my house. So I walked that mile.
Were you on your way home?
Yeah. So on my way home.
How were you received when you got home?
Oh, I was received greatly. They were so great. They were so surprised they didn't know what to do. They just jumped up and down when they seen me walk in.
Who was there?
Tivis and Mama and my mama and seems like they was on. Mary was there. Mary Stinson and Tivis Knighten and Rosa May Knighten was there. Rosa May, my mama, and Tivis, my sister, and Mary, my sister, was there. And there was only 3 there. I don't know where JP and my daddy was at then.
What did they do?
They were still farming.
What did they do when they saw you?
Oh, they was happy for me. They couldn't believe I was out. They couldn't believe it. I made it through the war.
Have you been able to keep in touch with anybody that you knew in the war?
No.
No contact?
No contact.
Okay. Well, having gone through the horrendous experiences that you had in the war, how do you think it's affected your life at this point?
I really don't know if it affected me at all. I don't know how my life would have been if I'd have never went through it or nothing like that. But I think it was better after I got through it than it was before I went through it. I think my life was better. I had a better life after I got home than I had while I was at home. Because I was young, and while I was at home, I was 19 when they drafted me. And I went over there till 45, till they discharged me in Atlanta. They discharged me in Atlanta. Wore the old ruptured duck.
Well, looking back now and knowing and experiencing all that you did, do you think the war was necessary?
Yeah, it was necessary. Yeah, because we stopped all that killing of the Jews, you know. We put an end to that. And that was a terrible thing for him to kill 6 million Jews for what? For nothing. Just because they wanted them wiped off the face of the earth. And just like this old guys are talking about now, wiping the Jews off the face of the earth. It'll never happen because God's going to take care of the Jews. And
well, does it bother you now when you hear some people say that the Holocaust never occurred?
Yeah, I told them it's a big lie when they say that. They don't know. If they'd been over there and seen that place that I seen and seen all of them dead there's Polish Jews, most of them were, and seen that place, they'd know there was a Holocaust. Why would they just have people stacked up in boxcars, no clothes on and no nothing, for nothing? I mean, for no reason at all, except they was Jewish. And I didn't even know. I didn't even hear about that till I got over there, and the war was about over when I heard it. And when I seen that place where they cremated them, then I knew something was going on, but I didn't know exactly what it was, and I didn't know who it was they was cremating. But I found out a little later that it was Jews they was cremating. It wasn't dead soldiers. It was Jewish people that they'd gassed.
Women?
And gassed and loaded them on them boxcars and shipped them in there to be cremated.
So we feel like you probably made a difference in the world.
Yeah, I might have.
I think you did.
I don't know.
Well, we thank you for this interview.
Well, you're welcome.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
That's all I can think of. Have you got 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Close to an hour.
Go.
Well, 57 minutes.
57 minutes. Well, that ought to get you in there.
Well, what about those photographs?